Hi everybody, if you don't know me already, my name is Kaylee. I am a gut health nutrition coach. I help people to overcome their chronic gut and digestive issues using the principles of ancestral nutrition as well as other holistic health principles. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking all about food sensitivities, food intolerances, what the symptoms are, what the testing can look like, if that's worth it or not for you, what the root cause of food sensitivities and intolerances are, as well as how you can actually overcome them for good. So if you are noticing that certain foods are causing an uptick in symptoms for you, things like bloating, diarrhea, gas, abdominal pain, discomfort, and you're a little confused on, what foods exactly are causing this for you, should you just cut out those foods? Will that be enough? How do you get rid of this for good? Then this video is for you. So before we get too far into the video, I do want to let you guys know that I do have a couple of spots open in my program, Ancestral Gut Healing, right now. This is a program where I walk you through step-by-step how to get to the root cause of your gut issues and how to overcome them, starting at the root cause, working on your diet, making sure you have a really good gut healing, nourishing diet down, and also using other holistic principles as well to make sure you overcome those for good and you no longer have to deal with those and you just have a healthy gut, nourished body, and are just set up to thrive going down the road. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to stick around till the end and I'll talk more about that. But back to the topic of today's video. So I'm going to be talking about the symptoms of food intolerances and food sensitivities. Then I'm going to be talking about testing, root causes, and how you can overcome them. So to get started, what are food sensitivities and intolerances? What are the symptoms? What's that look like? So first I want to distinguish that I am not talking about allergies. So with food allergies, it doesn't really matter how much you have of it, you will still get a reaction. So with a food allergy, it's an immune response reaction to any amount. So like people with severe peanut allergies, if they get exposed to like peanut oil in their food, they will have a reaction. There are different degrees of severity with allergies, but I just want to distinguish I'm not talking about allergies here. So with food sensitivities and intolerances, there can actually be kind of like a tipping point amount of the food you have to take in to get the reaction. So if you have an intolerance to something like wheat, you might be able to tolerate a very small amount, but then when you start consuming too much, then you get the reaction. So they're kind of odd and a little bit ambiguous, but I'm going to try to make it a little more clear in this video what they are. So basically, yeah, if you notice you're reacting to certain foods, which can be very difficult to tell, but you might have just increase in whatever gut symptoms you normally have, or you might get a very specific one. So a very clear tell is if you notice that you always get diarrhea after a certain food, that's a pretty clear indicator that you are currently sensitive to that food. It does not mean you will be for the long run, which I will explain later. So yeah, you could be getting that. You could just be getting lots of like indigestion and abdominal pain, gas, bloating, yeah, just really any kind of symptom like that. If you notice that like routinely you get it after a certain kind of food, that's a big indicator. And there are also certain foods that it's more common to get intolerances to, things like dairy, eggs, and wheat and grains. Those are like really common ones. Oh, or soy. All of those are like super common things to get intolerances to. So you might notice it more with that. But yeah, I wanted to give an example too. I had a client earlier this year, Alexa, who was sensitive to eggs when we first started working together. So every time she would have eggs, she would get diarrhea. So that was just a very clear indicator to both of us that she was currently sensitive to eggs. So yeah, we worked on that, and I will tell you later what we did to get her over that so that she could have eggs without having any diarrhea. But yeah, I just wanted to illustrate, that's kind of like an example. So then, okay, you've probably heard about food sensitivity tests. Now, what this is basically it's testing for what kind of foods you're sensitive to, and it gives you little results. But there's a big main flaw that I see with testing, and this is that the root cause of food sensitivities is almost always leaky gut. And if you've watched my stuff before, if you follow me on Instagram or my blog or anywhere else, you've probably heard me talk about leaky gut. But in case you don't know what it is, basically your gut lining is one cell layer thick, and sometimes different things happen to cause these cells to basically like widen and create gaps between them. And because it's only one cell layer thick, this provides an entry point from things in your digestive tract on this side to enter into your bloodstream on this side. So it's not good, as you can imagine. And when unwanted things are seeping into the gut, which if you have these open gaps, then things will, your body will mount immune responses, and over time will recognize these things quicker and quicker. So basically the things you eat most often are the ones that are going to trigger these very quick immune reactions, because your body is like, oh damn, there's wheat again, So I know wheat, and then they make a immune response. Your body makes an immune response to the wheat coming in. So if you eat a lot of wheat, you end up increasing your sensitivity to wheat. And this happens with lots of other foods as well. So this is basically what's causing the food sensitivity, is larger chunks of the food are seeping in. They're not broken down the way that they're supposed to be broken down. And your body is basically recognizing this as something foreign that needs to be destroyed. So the problem with food sensitivity tests is basically you get a list of all the foods you eat the most often and are told you can't eat these anymore. So that's what most often happens. Sometimes there's just some kind of random things on there. But if you cut those foods out, that will not fix the problem, because that doesn't fix the leaky gut. So basically, if you were to cut out all the foods that they told you to after the test, and you did the test again later, you would just get a new list of things you're sensitive to, and it would be all the stuff you just started eating again. So I feel like this test kind of gives you a false sense of control when it really doesn't help that much. So with my client Alexis, she actually did do the food sensitivity test just kind of for fun on her own, and she sent it to me. And of course we got back that kind of results, and it just really wasn't a very helpful tool. So I'll tell you what we did instead. But first, I just want to emphasize that I really kind of think it's a waste of money personally, and I would recommend that you invest in finding someone to help you actually overcome the leaky gut if you don't know how to do that instead. Because if you get help healing your leaky gut, your food sensitivities and your gut symptoms and all those things will go away. So I think that's a much better route. But basically, okay, so now you know the root cause is that leaky gut. So what do you do instead? So obviously the focus is on healing and sealing your gut lining. Now, this is what I did with my client Alexa. We worked on healing and sealing her gut. We worked on improving her digestive system and really narrowing down her food habits. And we didn't really pay attention to the food sensitivity test because it's really just not that helpful. So when we worked on those habits and getting that down, it took about 2 months until she could tolerate eggs fine again and not get that diarrhea. And then it took about 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly, but it was 3 or 4 months until she had overcome all her other symptoms too. So she no longer had, she used to get alternating constipation and diarrhea. So she no longer got that, and it just kind of leveled out to 5+ times a week of regular healthy bowel movements. She didn't get painful gas and bloating anymore. Her energy increased a lot. She used to be fatigued before, and she used to have a really low appetite and just a hard time eating, and her appetite improved, but she could eat so much more but not gain weight, still be a healthy weight. So her metabolism improved a lot as well. So when you work on these root causes of the issue, it just fixes everything so much better. So what I would recommend if you have these food sensitivities and intolerances, is to start by working on that leaky gut. So this is going to require a gut healing dietary protocol where you cut out certain foods that aggravate your gut. Now, the difference here is we're not just cutting out the foods you always eat that you happen to get sensitive to. We're cutting out the foods that specifically cause leaky gut. So things high in lectins like grains and legumes and nuts and seeds. We're going to cut those way back. We're going to cut out gluten because that causes leaky gut too. And we're going to address things like stress and toxins, which also cause leaky gut or worsen it. And then we're going to specifically include gut healing foods that you need to heal and seal that gut lining. So you definitely want to work on that. And then part of this is just really nailing down your diet too, so that you have a good gut healing diet. And then we want to work on your entire digestive tract and gut and make sure that we're supporting it in every single part so that you have a healthy gut microbiome, you have a healthy gut lining, you have strong stomach acid, good digestive enzymes, and everything is working really, really efficiently. So that is how I recommend you go about healing food sensitivities and intolerances. I do want to note it's also very helpful to avoid certain foods that you do notice you have a very strong intolerance to. I just wouldn't obsess over this part. The healing doesn't happen by being super, super specific and identifying exactly what foods cause some kind of intolerance for you. If something causes a big enough intolerance for you to notice it, like I mentioned with Alexa, where every time she ate eggs, she would have to go diarrhea. If you notice that, then yes, cut that out for a time being. You'll be able to tolerate it in the future. But if you're like, I think it might be mushrooms that kind of make me feel bad, it's like, don't really worry about that. You really just want to heal the gut and it will take care of the rest. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful. If you want more help with this, if you're like, oh dang, I totally have this and I have no idea how to heal my gut and I want to get over this, then I can absolutely help you with that. That is exactly what I do. That is what I specialize in. I help people to heal their guts. I help them to heal and seal that gut lining, help them to improve the gut microbiome, improve their digestion, and center a whole diet around this. I help you to narrow down that diet for you. So if you want to hear more about that, if that's something you're interested in, be sure to book a call with me. I'll put a link right down below and we can talk more about that and see if my program Ancestral Gut Healing would be a good fit for you. So yeah, I hope to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, give it a like, comment, subscribe, share it with someone you know that you think might benefit from it. Any of those things help me out a lot. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll talk to you soon.